Hello, welcome to another toneless landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting I'm bringing you today, very proud to bring you today, is called Riffing on Corot. It's a 3.5 by 3.5, very tiny, as tiny as I paint. Painting inspired by Camille Corot, but I took several liberties. Let's see. Oh well, now you can see the reference image, which is still a bit of a modified Corot in the members area. Um, but I took off the figures, of course. He had a very clever guy, Corot. The figures in his landscapes are always brilliant, but I'm going to try and paint that at 3.5 by 3.5. He had a guy climbing the tree, and then he had a gal on the lawn there. To see that path, I had thought of maybe installing that, and that would have been really nice um, if it was a bigger painting. But in this case, the frame rabbit is going to cover a decent chunk of that. So. This last week has been just great in that I finally latched into something really. I'm going to be, not every, I know you guys like a bit of variety, so I won't make it minis, for the next week. But so the 3.5 by 3.5s have been hankering to do them, but I haven't been able to find frames that size, so a local framer here in Fongaree has been, kindly cutting up some of their scraps when they had time, and making me some little frames. And it just occurred to me, it's like, well, I don't have to just do some random, Barbizon thing or not even toneless thing. A lot of times, if I was doing the riffing thing, I'd be second stringers like. Some names, Dupree, that kind of thing. Not your Corots or your. I have riffed on Corot before. I know I have, but not an S, not often Corot, and not Murphy. And this last week, I did a little, very tiny version of a Ness painting and also of a Murphy, and this was a Corot, and I did a little tree one too, which is, it's okay, it's pretty good. That's a whole nother story how that came about, and I'll try and stay focused. So hey, we're painting with it is burr number. Yeah, I think it's just plain old burr number, to be honest. It doesn't look like I went into an especially red territory, as I have been doing. I've been amping up the red in my underpaintings quite a lot. But here, the thing that distinguishes a Corot is the way he really held back on his color. And there's not a ton of like reddishness to his work. It's definitely leaning more your greenish quality, your your silvery tones. And one of the reasons why I wanted to do a little Corot is because I had a little silvery frame, silver gold. That looks pretty good now. I might have to rub some paint on that frame, The thing is with Corot is that the palette is always very restrained. He was not your color guy by his own admission, but his compositions. Well, what were the innovations of Corot? Let's give the man his due. The composition master of all time, And even to the point where he started, a lot of people in his day and age picked up on and did maybe even a little better. I have arguments with that. I'm trying to remember that guy's name. I did a study after him not that long ago. It'll come to me. Maybe, or you could just look around. Very Corot-like, several very Corot-like people working at the same time. Now, he had a long life, Corot, but he managed to not go too far out of style because he was so ahead of the curve. And he brought in the abstraction, Now, if you're an artist, the abstraction's always present anyway. Even the masters would start with more abstract type your drawings and compositions, and then the realism is an overlay on top. That's pretty much a fact. What else did he bring in? He brought in the tonal harmony, right? And that's a value thing, as I've pointed out in my book and my video courses. 90% of what sells a painting as being quote unquote tonal is a value structure, not so much a color structure. We'll pick that up after the ad for the book, which is coming up in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thanks for your support. I sent out a couple of books this week. It's great and gratifying. I've sent it all over the planet, and it's really heartwarming to know that a book of mine is in this or that country or this or that state. You should check it out if you want to learn more about putting things together the way I do, and that's $60 international, shipping included, and I'll get it out to you. Yeah, so back to the painting. I did Corot Sky. I swapped it out. That's one of the reasons I'm calling it a riff. And his skies are just okay. It's another bit of a weak area as far as I'm concerned. I like a bit of a payoff. Even in a sky like this, it's just gray and blue. But you see how in the middle of that patch of clouds there actually was bringing in a slight amount of almost a purpley tone. I like to move things around. I like a little more drama and contrast in my skies. So that's what I do, and that's why I'm riffing. Also, a bit more complexity in these trees, and a lot of times, here's a secret. A lot of people look at these mini paintings. They think, "Oh man, that looks hard." It's not so hard if you remember. First of all, you're working in a small space, so you don't want to over detail things. So I left a lot of space between the trees. I don't have a lot of branches. I made that little sliver of a lake, which I think was absolutely key to the composition. And his it was a little slimmer, but I made it quite present. Because I think that's a place. Obviously, I think we come into this painting actually from the right side more so than the left side. We go up to that lake, we go around the trees, and it's quite a nice composition. Oh, so he had little castles and things in the back. I don't care about any of that. I don't want to paint that stuff. So I don't. And you really should take that on board too. That's one thing. I was watching a video, as I do. Some guys talking about the social medias and stuff. Other guys talking about the AIs and stuff, both of which, are making life harder for a contemporary artist in a way. I think the AI is incredibly supportive for the reference. As a matter of fact, I'm going to be going live today. It didn't even occur to me that I'd scheduled the same day that I do my Sunday video, but I don't know what the YouTube algorithm's going to do. I don't know. I don't even know how it presents the live stuff to you, to be honest. I really don't know what it's up to. But, a real key to my approach to YouTube is just sharing what I do when I do it. And as does Rick Beato, which has, he's very good with the YouTubes. And I think that's a good strategy. I don't want to get to, Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, whatever. It's Sunday here, and I hope you're doing good. And I hope it's your Saturday, maybe if you're in the States, which is forgive me if you're somewhere else in the world too. I just know the overwhelming percentage of my audience is in the States. And being an American myself, even though I live in New Zealand, I tend to think that way. Yeah, so I'm really proud of the my pulling off of the restraint in the color. I did go further than Corot. I'm into a little more impactful color than Corot. But, really nice harmony in these tree shapes and stuff. And I'm super proud of this painting. And the thing is with these minis is they sell really cheap. But the other thing with the minis is they don't take very long. And they're so cool. They're so jewel-like and neat. Even say I did this 3.5 by 3.5. I was contemplating it doing as a 5 by 5, but I noticed that the response to the slightly smaller size, well, it's not even slight. When you're talking a difference between 5 by 5 and 3.5 by 3.5 is significant, because at this scale, that's almost it's close to double. Yeah. Yeah, maybe not double, but you get what I'm saying. All right, they did little highlights in the trees. You notice I'm doing stuff with the side of the brush. That's one thing I'm focusing a lot on, imparting how and where and why I'm changing and modifying my brush handling in those video courses. It's important, and the thing is too, like with something like this, it already looks strong. And I'm sure this has probably happened to you too. You're getting ready to do those highlights, and you just go too far, and not only have you lost what was cool that was underneath, but now you've got a bit of a morass, and then you're in try and save it mode. And sometimes in the process of saving something, I would say always try to save it. Because sometimes in the process of saving something, you can hit new ground, new territory. Other times, you'll just have to deal with it, the memory of it having been stronger at some point. But that doesn't mean it may be quite saleable where it's at now. And it's not. Trust me, when I say look at that criteria of saleable, it's not because I like to sell my work, but I'm not. I'm a fine artist. I'm creating art and then trying to find a market for it, not the other way around. So I'm not a money motivated kind of artist. But the reason I use that as a criteria, first of all, I was a commercial artist for 13 years, so I know a bit about creating art for the market. And even though I'm doing my fine art, I have I have those skills. I mean, I have those instincts. People go, really? Why are you doing old fuddy-duddy tonalism? The market doesn't want that. The market's going to catch up with it. Trust me, it's already happening. It's already happening. Get on board the tonalist train. Anyway, that's the question I asked myself. Is this something someone would want to possess in their home? That they would want to live with and look at every day, become part of the fabric of their existence, and when they pass on, when they leave this mortal coil, that they'll pass it on to their children, who will treasure it and remember it as a part of their upbringing. I think about paintings that were in my family home all the time. We had that Rembrandt Gladiator guy. I love that painting. I really should get a copy of it for here. And then we had my grandparents had that one. If it's very famous, of like this, Indian warrior. He's up on the cliffs above, looking down at the campsite below. Of I don't know exactly what he's going to do. Probably not something good, but anyway, you can see the little highlights in the trees. They were strong before, a little stronger after. I could have gone a little more present with the whitish highlights, but I'll tell you the reason I didn't is I didn't want to have a battle with the light in the sky behind, and I'm real happy with the way that sky turned out. And you better be, if you're going to be changing up the the plans of the master. Yeah, and it's not, trust me, if I'm, oh, and I didn't mention this, but the riffing concept, for those of you that got this far, you probably watched a lot of my videos, you already know, it's very much like doing a cover song. Now, there I was contemplating doing a branch. There's one in the reference, it's a long diagonal branch, but it would have closed up that space, and I've been thinking about it ever since, and I'm really glad I didn't do that. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. And in these minis, you don't want things too compact. Think about how it will look from a distance, especially being such a small area. Anyway, I guess that does it for this week's video. I am going live, so check that out. Come say hello. I don't know if that will be up before or after this video, or what's going to happen with the algorithm or any of that. Oh, also, let me know what you think of this format with the video cropped in. Until I come back with another YouTube video for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor, do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones. Stay out of trouble, and God bless you and your family.